My name's Brad Clark. So for many years I worked at Mayton. One of the initial projects to get the company solvent was to produce their own pickup system, as at the time they relied on someone else's, which was expensive and not within their control. Tommy came on board. Basically he wanted to use the big Piezos, which we've used here, and he wanted to have a more comprehensive EQ, which we also have here. It was an analog system, of course, at the time, because it was the mid-90s. So the precepts were large Piezos, a lot of power, but a more comprehensive EQ, and to have two input elements because you wanted to add some air around it, as the parent Piezos are considered a little bit harsh by themselves. Tommy insisted on using the 6 large Piezos that we're also using here. Most professionals, most fingerstyle professionals do. Why 6 large Piezos? The 6 large cylindrical Piezos give you a lot of power at the source, a lot of power at the bridge. They're what we call loaded. In other words, they don't just rely on string pressure to activate them. They're also clamped up into the bridge under the saddle. Under them comprises an aluminium bar, and the aluminium bar puts some mass, some inertial mass on the non-sensing side, plus it's flat. So the system is more likely to balance, and having mass on the non-sensing side means that it's essentially an accelerometer, so it's quite efficient. Plus, again, the Piezos are probably 15 to 20 times more powerful than, say, a strip system. So the parent signal is extremely powerful and strong. However, it can result in some fairly strident top end. So to augment the sound, there's a phase sensor. The reason for that is that we are taking some of the signal off the face or the body of the guitar to augment, as I say, to give it a more natural outcome. And that's what we've achieved here. Recapping on the fundamentals, the first thing we looked at in the Voki project was big Piezos, loaded big Piezos, a lot of power, and to augment the sound with a second sensor, which is the phase sensor. What we then did was to match the EQ, if you will, or the tone of the system to the guitar, which, like the early Maytons, is nitrocellulose because it's more easily amplified. In my view, it produces a better wood tone. So the systems are matched together. It's a 4-control system, meaning that it has a master volume, has a separate face sensor or microphone volume, and simply treble and bass. Inside the system there is, or on the back of the board, there's a separate mid-range control that the customer, meaning the guitar factory or the end user, can set the mid-range. Why did we do that? We wanted to keep the fascia simple. 4 controls. We call it 4-control because it is 4-control. It's an analog-based system. We understood the shape of the EQ curves better than we did before. That's a lot of experience we've had, so we were able to reduce the number of cascading chips. We were able to reduce the harmonic distortion, therefore. So it's pretty neat, simple, and effective. The other thing we have is the battery here, which is easily accessible by parting the strings. You don't have to remove the strings to remove the battery, which is good, because if you're at a gig and you're in the middle of the song and the thing starts to get flat, you don't really want to take off the strings. So that's been fundamental to our systems. So what we've done is we've packed all of the advantages of the digital system into this simple analog system. Of course, the sound is different. The sound is different because analog circuitry is different to digital. It's a little warmer, I guess you could say, and it has that fundamental parent analog sound. So, to cap, I guess you would say that this is a result of a lot of experience working at Mayton and Cole Clark back in the day with Tommy and numerous other artists, to finesse the system and then to advise Voki what kinds of things they needed to do to the guitar to optimize not only the guitar's performance but the performance of the preamp within the guitar. This is the most powerful preamp sensor system ever released.